in the beginning of my personal development journey, I always believed that when I would reach a certain stage in my development, that I would no longer experience fear anymore, that shame and embarrassment are completely gone, that I'm no longer procrastinating. And this, of course, sounds beautiful in my mind, that I'm no longer afraid, but this is not what reality looks like. Because you can get rid of the fear. You can get rid of these negative emotions and experiences or feelings, because they are part of life. And that's why we also have to be mindful of the language that we're using. Because online I see a lot of people talk in the language as in, let's get rid of the fear, let's dissolve the fear. And I use this language as well in my sessions, for example, with the one-on-one clients. Because yes, we are working with the fear, we're maybe dissolving it, but you have to be mindful that you don't create the expectation that you shouldn't be experiencing fear. That when you experience fear, that something is wrong, or you haven't developed yourself enough yet. Because you will always experience these feelings. And this is where I started to recreate my relationship with this whole topic. And I started to recreate the meaning of what it means to create and cultivate self-mastery. Because my initial idea was, I no longer experience fear. But when I looked at the people that I saw as, oh, they've created self-mastery in their life, they experience all of these feelings. They get angry. They feel the shame. They are procrastinating. They experience fear. But what I realized is they are able to reduce the time between experiencing the fear and getting back to center and being able to ground themselves and make a grounded decision moving forward. They reduce the time between those two experiences. And that's where the self-mastery really shows up. So let's take procrastination as an example. When you procrastinate, how long are you procrastinating? Is this for a few hours? Is this days, weeks, months? A lot of men that I talk to, they are procrastinating for years on their dreams. So the longer you procrastinate, of course, the less self-mastery you've developed. But if you are able to catch the procrastination, so the first step to self-mastery is self-awareness, you need to be aware of, okay, I'm procrastinating. And maybe even immediately be aware of, this is why I'm procrastinating. So when you are aware of the procrastination, how quickly are you able to get back to center and make a powerful decision moving forward and continue with the task that you scheduled for yourself? If you are able to reduce that time, that's you developing self-mastery and increasing your self-mastery. Similar to anger. When you are triggered in a conversation and the emotions are heightened, are you reacting to these emotions immediately? How long do you stay angry? How long do you experience these feelings? Is it only in the conversation, or is it also days or maybe weeks after that conversation? Because I talk to a lot of people that look at 2-3 weeks back and they are still angry for what happened in the conversation. So this is where, let's say, a lack of self-mastery is present, because you're unable to ground yourself back in this peaceful and state of freedom as well. So what I realize is the people that have developed a certain level of self-mastery, when they are triggered in a conversation, they are not even reacting to the emotion. That's self-mastery. They are aware of the emotion. They are not the anger. They are not the sadness. They are not whatever the experience is. They are completely detached from it. They are aware of it. It feels real in their body, but they are able to ground themselves and make a decision moving forward from there. That's the self-mastery. And just imagine how powerful you become with that level of self-mastery, where your feelings are no longer dictating what you do or don't do. So this is why I don't believe that you can get rid of the fear. You can become bigger than the fear. You create detachments from the fear or from whatever experience you're having. That's where the true self-mastery is. And this is what you want to be aiming for. That the experiences that you have, so let's say fear, that it has no longer control over you. That it's no longer deciding what you do or don't do. So when you experience anger in a conversation, that experience of anger is no longer controlling what you say in that interaction. Because if you let anger dictate what you say, you will have a whole different outcome. But if you're able, for example, to intentionally choose, even though you experience anger, to come from a place of love in that moment, that's self-mastery. You choose who you are being. You no longer let the feelings or the emotions and the experience dictate what you say and what you do. Just because you don't want to go to the gym because you're tired, you don't let the tiredness dictate what you do or don't do. That's the self-mastery. And this requires self-awareness, like I said. You need to be aware of all the feelings and experiences that you're having. You need to be aware of where are these feelings and experiences coming from. You need to also, and this is one of This is such a deep one. Like, this is something you don't intellectually understand. This is something, when you experience this, I believe this is one of the first steps in internal, or if you want to call it spiritual mastery, is when you really feel that you are not your feelings. That who you are is different from the experience that you're having. And this is where a lot of people think they are their feelings. They think they are their thinking. So when they experience fear and they think certain thoughts, it's like they get even more anxious, because it's like, oh shit, this is who I am right now. And yes, it feels so real. But who is the person watching? And this is where the self-awareness, self-mastery shows up. Who is the person being aware of the feelings and being aware of the fear? Like, that's you at a deeper level. You are aware of it. And that you can make different decisions regardless of the experience that's present. So when you are walking down the street and you see an attractive girl walking and you think like, oh, I would love to ask her out on a date, or I would love to meet her. You are aware of all the feelings that come up with the thoughts that come with this. So immediately you think, oh no, I would be a creep, or oh no, I can't say hi to her because what if people are watching, and oh, what if she rejects me, and oh, she must have a boyfriend. So all of these things are present. So when this is taking over, are you still able to move and say hello? That is what the game is all about. This is you becoming bigger than the fear. So one aspect, how do you cultivate this? Of course, one aspect is the self-awareness piece, is being aware of everything that is going on and realizing that this is not you, realizing that this is all made up. This is all a lie. All of these experiences are there to protect you, because your whole being, and let's say your ego and your mind, it does not want to move to discomfort. It does not want you to be uncomfortable. It wants to move you to what's comfortable, to what's easy, to what you know. This is why you are experiencing all these feelings. Why are you procrastinating? Because the task is difficult. It is boring. It is hard. Of course. Why are you procrastinating on taking maybe bold leaps in your life? Because there's uncertainty. And in uncertainty, you might get hurt. So everything is always moving you towards comfort and safety. That's why all of this is present. But you have to be very intentional to make a decision to move into the uncertainty and into the discomfort, which is often where the growth is. So how do you become bigger than your fear is also, of course, the self-awareness piece. But I believe one of the biggest ones is seeking out these moments. Where are you afraid? Where are you procrastinating? And leaning into it as fast as possible. This is a skill that you can develop. It's a muscle that you can train. You can become competent of leaning into your fear. You can become competent of feeling the anger and just staying silent, not reacting to it. You can become competent in walking down the street, seeing an attractive girl, you feel your body start shaking, you don't feel your legs anymore, you can still make the decision to move. All of these things, you can train yourself to do it. So it might feel impossible in the moment, but when you do this over and over and over again, this accumulation of these actions, this is how you become bigger than the fear. So there is no secret way in which you can do this. Of course, this, like I said, the self-awareness piece is so important that you understand what is going on, because in a lot of cases, all these feelings and experiences, they don't make sense and they feel so real, but they are not reality. Just because you feel them, it doesn't mean that they're true. So this is where, of course, the going deep into oneself, into the shadows and what is going on is part of it, but don't use it as a distraction. I believe exposure therapy is one of the best ways. Do that consistently to become bigger than the experience that you're having. And in a lot of cases, it's fear. Why are you procrastinating? Fear might be involved as well in this whole interaction. Fear is often at the core of everything, even though you don't experience the fear in itself. So yeah, that's my invitation. Always lean into these things consistently. You can't get rid of the fear, but you can become bigger than the fear. And that is the goal. It's not to get rid of it, because that's going to be a never-ending journey with just a lot of frustration, because it's part of a human experience. So live from this place of acceptance. These feelings will always be there, and it's okay. But I'm going to be bigger than this.